Good morning, Coneheads. It's Conehead Kevin here, and today we're gonna ride motorcycles. Gotta go. Hey, Coneheads. Rooster and I just finished up with a student that was there to expand basic motorcycle skills. Um, it was first scheduled to be uh, more of a session of advanced stuff, but it wound up being an expansion of the basic uh, training. It was more, hey, let's use the clutch when we're in first gear instead of just, the clutch is an on and off switch. So we had to, refine some clutch use and everything. After we do that, we decide to set this up and do a little practice of our own. Unfortunately, we started off.
You suck!
So we really we really didn't do any warm-up exercises or anything. We just went straight in and set up one of the more difficult exercises. We have a lot of advanced exercises that we do. This one here can be a little bit more difficult for a lot of students. We tend to bust through this pretty regularly without too much trouble. But what we decided to do was tighten up the parameters a little bit, and it means a lot. It comes into play, the fact that we tighten up.
You suck!
Some sorry ass transitions, and there may or may not have been a hangover involved, with Roosters riding, and I'm just taking off cold here after being beat up in the Florida sun for several days out here working. So we go in here, again, no real warm up other than doing a couple turns in the parking lot, and we jump in and start trying this. We shrunk these parameters down quite a bit to kind of push ourselves. It's something we want to do for a much more advanced class. We have several levels of our advanced classes that we do. So we're trying to develop one that is just, insanely hard, and we want to push ourselves to get there to where we can really do it smooth, before, trying to work with other people to do it as well. So we get a bunch of successful runs on this. Don't get me wrong, but they're not easy. And we work for them, just because of being tired and our mind isn't in it all the way. But as you can see, we do get some successful runs at it. Rooster tries a couple runs at quite a high speed, which makes it very difficult. But again, we get this stuff down after a little while of running it, and I would like to say we really enjoyed ourselves, but the day wasn't designed for us to have a really good time in this regard, because none of our heads are in the game, and we're missing transitions and not getting our wheel placement right. And when we tighten these parameters up, these cones came into play, and it mattered, where that wheel placement went. And the speeds mattered, and if we looked to the wrong direction, we found we didn't make it. And as you can see, that some pretty tight turns there. It does a triple here of like 16-foot U-turns in here to make that happen, and it's pretty tight. But we go in here and do several really tight U-turns like this to make this work. We kind of mess each other up a little bit in there when we get in there. So, and when it's set up bigger, when we set it up in the bigger one, that a lot of students can't even perform until we work with them for a while. We can do that in there while we're together. We'll run in there at the same time and work around each other in there, and it's okay. But in these tighter parameters, it kind of messes up. Look how fast he's going, about 15 mile an hour, and then looks at me and whoa. So our head placement wasn't in the right place sometimes. Sometimes speed was a little bit of a factor, and stuff happens. But we don't think too much of it. We just kind of move on and try again. But it is just kind of a practice session, and we are just kind of goofing off. But I thought you might like to see some of the tougher stuff that we try to practice. Again, these parameters are pretty tight. When you're the way we shrunk this down, and the area that we shrunk down for this, it requires some pretty tight U-turns. You know, you're going to need to clearly do some 17 footers to get through it. You could see in there that we did some of those, um, but it's it's not something that I would put students in so it's right away, but we can get you there. We can actually get you to this point where you're going to take big motorcycles and work in tight parameters like this, and it's kind of what we do. We enjoy it. Yeah, we like working with basic riders and getting them their endorsement and stuff, but this is where the real fun, starts, is when people could really start to control their motorcycles. It translates to the road very, very well out there. And as you can see, when you do a triple set of 16-foot U-turns back to back, like Rooster did in there a couple times, um, it 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 makes you feel really good that you've got some good control on your motorcycle. And and then, when you're in there with somebody that you've been riding with for a long time, messing around in here, we would never send multiple people in here at a time. Like we kind of crowd each other in here a couple times, but why we wouldn't do that with multiple people or students? We've been riding together for a long time, so we like to go in there and run around each other while we're doing stuff like that. Sometimes we have to stop a little bit too and joke around because we you know mess up or did something wrong, and half of the fun is stopping and bullshitting and picking on each other when you're doing stuff like this. But the bikes also get hot once in a while, so you should kind of stop and shut them down, or ride them and cool them off. um, but we're having a little discussion when we stop, because some of the changes that we made to this exercise to tighten it up, we didn't think was gonna be that effective, because we had tried to do this before, um, but we didn't force ourselves to do it. So we had just marked some spaces and done this, but now where we actually add a bunch of extra cones that force you to make certain turns correctly, it put certain things in play that we weren't expecting, and made it much more challenging. Which kind of the fun of doing this is challenging yourself,
Boo! You suck!
the skills, and okay, occasionally we can get a little bit lackadaisical when we're doing things in this nature, because we're working in boxes and in tight areas that we work with students, and they become routine to us. So we can ride them like it's routine. So we can miss our spots where we put our tires, and still make them and look like it was meant to be that way, even though nobody really noticed how bad we messed it up. But when we tighten the parameters like we did on this one, um, those little mess ups result in failure, so it makes it quite a bit more difficult. You have to get your tire placement right in order to even fit in this, to make the bike come around. And if you transition too soon, which I did on a couple of them, worried about late transitions, you have to transition fast to do this. But if you transition too soon, well, then your bike turns too soon, and you run out of space in another direction. So that doesn't work either. So it kind of takes the skill level up a little bit, and makes you place the tires in just the right spot. Um, and we're no um, extreme motor officers or anything like that. So this is we're not out here practicing with Donnie Williams and Ben Wolf or anything like that. This is our school, and we practice this, and while this is far above the skill level of most riders, it doesn't take much to get here. It just takes a little bit of time and practice, and that's a place we can get to. um, and Zaya Law is even um, helped out here and there with some of our things, and has talked to us about helping make these advanced classes available for more students out there. which would be fantastic. You can see I've had to put my foot down a couple times and stumble the bike across. Sometimes your motor just woofs out. You're doing tight turns and stuff like this, everything has to go right. You have to have your RPM set right. You have to have the clutch in the right position. Sometimes you have to drag rear brake. Sometimes you can do this without dragging rear brake if you set your RPM and clutch right. But if your motor woofs out while you're doing this, the bike can go down. Obviously, I had to skip my foot a couple times when that happened. And then, okay, we can make it. We're doing it. So we try a couple slow walks through here where you try to keep the bike upright and just turn the handlebars. Well, there's no room for that. The parameters we set were too tight. There really isn't the room available to make those kind of turns with keeping the bike upright. But it's kind of fun to see if you can go really, really super slow and make some of these turns too. We give that a couple whirls, but Rooster really tries on it. But again, there may or may not have been a hangover involved, which is going to make riding this right now quite a bit more difficult. And again, with what he's trying, I think we might have tightened the parameters up too much to try and do a slow turn through here. You really have to lean the bike and actually do U-turns to make it through here. The bike just isn't going to have that kind of turning radius. But we thought it'd be fun to give it a try. But anyway, I just thought I would show you a little bit of our practice sessions and show us messing around, where we take things and we tighten them up a little bit for ourselves. And when people find things difficult, it's okay to keep pushing at it. We obviously went beyond levels that we were used to here and went into it cold and give it a try. And hey, if you keep working at stuff like this, you'll get it eventually. But anyway, Coneheads, have a great time riding out there. Come see us, and you can do more stuff just like this with us. All right, kind of bright in here with no roof on it yet, but this here is going to be Rooster's garage. So you got a builder out here working on the garage, and there's a little something special about this garage. We've been around construction our whole lives and everything, so we happen to notice this right here in the floor of the garage, on an otherwise perfect floor. And this is this big old garage is for Rooster's motorcycles, because if you're going to have two motorcycles, you need a garage to keep them in, right? So this is just for his two motorcycles. This is his personal little garage, and we noticed this thing here in the floor, and they formed it all up, poured the concrete, and did this. And we're too embarrassed to kind of ask what this is. Is it something that they messed up? Is it planned for something? What did the builder do here? So because we're too embarrassed to ask the builder what they did here, we're asking you what the builder did here. And if you can answer it before this garage is built, so before the garage is finished, the first person in the comment section who can answer what this is in the floor, we're going to give you a leather vest. It'll be a leather riding vest. It'll be a really nice quality one. We have whether it's a men's vest or women's vest, it'll be your choice. But it'll be a high quality. It'll be a high quality leather vest. This will be nice gear that we're giving away. And whoever can answer in the comments again first about what this is and not embarrass us with the builder, you're gonna win that. And when the garage is done, I guess we'll figure out what it is, and whoever answered first in the comments again will win their prize at that time. All right, Coneheads, have fun out there. Be safe.